Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Rocha Kodash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder apostle, Aharawan Banya Sharala, of the Lions Den camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Kharab Ban Yasharallah, coming out of the Lions Den camp of Yasharallah here in Jacksonville, Florida. And today I'll be coming out with a lesson that's on this article, and it says how Southeast Asia showed its support for China and sent a message to the U.S. And with this recent happening, it's just showing that the U.S., the West, Big Satan, are losing allies, valuable key allies. Because in Southeast Asia, that consists of Cambodia, the Philippines, Taiwan, Thailand, just to name a few. But nonetheless, like, these other nations are slowly turning away from America. But I'm going to read a little bit of this article, and I'm going to get one precept that came to mind when I was reading this. But let's continue. It says, Indonesia, all them places over there too. Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto had a last-minute change of plan when he traveled to Beijing to attend China's military parade in Tiananmen Square, just hours before it began. Prabowo, or Prabowo, however you say it, had earlier decided to cancel the trip because of widespread protests at home. But he showed up for the parade in a gray suit on the morning of September 3rd, taking a seat at the rostrum beside Russian President Vladimir Putin, who was on the right of the Chinese President Xi Jinping. It says sources said that the Indonesian leader arrived hours before the parade started and had to stay in a different hotel from his team because of one designated for the ASEAN delegations was full. That was no room left. This is Prabowo's whatever office said he had decided to go ahead with the trip after receiving an urgent request from China to attend the parade. That sounds like, to me, in my opinion, that sounds like a business transaction. Hey, I got something to talk to you about. You know what I'm saying? This is between you and me. That's what I get from it. But this is just my opinion. I could be wrong. But let's continue. It says the office also said that the visit was to maintain good relationships with the Chinese government. Probably was more than that, because these other leaders and these other presidents are far more intelligent than Erdogan want to give credit to. Actually, they're more intelligent than Erdogan. Well, let's continue. It says Prabowo was among a strong contingent of top leaders from Southeast Asia, a region Beijing has been courting at the parade that showcased China's military strength and growing influence. It says their attendance was a show of support for Beijing and a clear message to Washington that the region had all alternative partners as they faced mounting pressure from the sweeping U.S. tariffs, according to analysts. And that was a message. That was a message of the Lord saying, yeah, I'm taking away your allies. They're starting to turn on you. And like I said, Southeast Asia, they starting to do business with China now. China is the power over there right now. It is what it is. America ain't Babylon, America, or the U.S., the West, whatever you want to call it. It ain't got it no more. Whatever it was, the Lord done took it. So it is gone. But let's continue. It said, while Southeast Asian nations were increasingly looking towards China, and their appearance at the parade reflected a tilt away from Washington, regional ties still hinge on Beijing's approach to continuous issues such as the South China Sea disputes. That's just this devil trying to rattle up the pot, stir up some dookie. That's all that is. It says the world may have had its attention fixed on Xi and Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who also were seen together for the first time at the parade, but it was hard to miss the Southeast Asian presence. The parade, marking the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, was skipped by the United States and most European countries. Yeah, of course, because ain't nobody dealing with Edom for real no more. And they say they skipped it. They probably wasn't even invited. But let's continue. It says, from Southeast Asia, besides Prabowo, the event was attended by Malaysian Prime. That's also Southeast Asia. Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, Vietnamese President Luong Quang, Laotian President Thong Lon Sisulit, and Cambodian King Norodom Sihamoni. Myanmar sent Min Aung Hlaing, the acting president, while Singapore was represented by Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong. That is a high-level presence. It is. That's a lot of high-ranking Asians over there. It says the high-level representation was an upgrade from 2015 when China first held its Victory Day parade. Earlier this month, most Southeast Asian countries also sent representatives to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit that was held in Tianjin days before the parade. Benjamin Ho, an assistant professor at S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies in Singapore, I screwed that word up, said the strong turnout from the region was partly because Southeast Asian nations could agree that they were victims of Japanese aggression during World War II. They was all victims of Babylon America, so they told us. See, let's continue. I'm gonna start kind of. I'm gonna skip over that little piece right there. Southeast Asian countries were aware that being seen and attending this parade with China is almost like a form of reminder of the United States that we've got a Chinese alternative. We have other ways of dealing, meaning this is showing Babylon America that the Lord is circumventing all that middleman, and the Lord is starting to cut out the middleman. These nations are starting to do bilateral deals, meaning they're doing deals between each other. They're not going through a middleman. They're not using Babylon no more to do deals. This is why President Babylon is kicking up a funk and a fuss with all these tariffs and all this stuff, which is actually damaging the place he says he wants to be great again. But we know through the power and spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and through the scriptures and prophecy that this place is a sacrifice. It's meant to go down. But let's continue. Once more, Southeast Asian countries are aware that being seen attending this parade with China is like a form of reminder to the U.S. that we got an alternative, to show that the Southeast Asian countries are not about agency and should choose to demonstrate support for Chinese initiatives, Ho said. Southeast Asian countries have found themselves increasingly caught in the deepening superpower rivalry between the U.S. and China. See, this devil always want to try to put something in between to use to come at somebody else rather than being direct and coming directly with somebody that can whoop that ass. But let's continue. This is leaders stressing that they would not be forced to take sides. So there you go. And I'm gonna end it right there. But the only thing this is the Lord breaking up this devil's power structure. No more in Southeast Asia. They're looking towards China, because right now China is the rising, we'll say, financial part of BRICS. You got Russia is the military industrial complex of BRICS. China is the financial complex of BRICS. But let's get a scripture. This is Obadiah, verse 7. Chapter 1, verse 7. It's only one chapter, but verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. So all these nations that have once allied themselves with America done pull a fast one on America. And pull the slick one. Done bamboozled, hoodwinked, swindled. All the men of thy confederacy even have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. So these nations that were once at peace with America have deceived America into thinking that they're still at peace. But guess what? They like, nah, we looking elsewhere. Our prospects are somewhere else now. You know, we're tired of the tit for tat, the back and forth, the passing licks. These nations are tired of that. They trying to move forward. And in their moves and what they've done and their choices that they're making, it has prevailed against this devil. Meaning any choice that they've made, it's going to be a success. And Babylon is not going to be able to do anything about it. This is, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So those that eat the bread of this place, those that have been allied with this place, real quick, let's go here. Let's go to the scripture, actually. As it says here, I'm going to read it in the NLT as well, right here in verse 7. It says, all your allies will turn against you. And that's what's going on. A lot of the allies of America have turned against America. They will help to chase you from your land, meaning when it come down to it, they're gonna help this place to fall. It says they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive you and destroy you. And that's what's going on right now. Your trusted friends will set traps for you and you won't even know about it. And that's what's going on right now. Why you think that the president of Indonesia, he was like, hey, China, the president of China was like, hey, check it out. Let me holler at you. So he probably, he wasn't finna go, but that sounded like a business deal to me. But nonetheless, this is what's going on with these other nations on the world stage. They talk to me like, yeah, they doing the same exact thing Esau do. Talking smoothly, words sound good, but they have ulterior motives and other intentions. They like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to build relations and we're going to do everything. We're going to make sure that, and all this, that, and the whole time they like, yeah, whatever. You finna kick your so-and-so to the curb the first chance we get. And this is a sign of that. And it's only going to happen more. And they're going to lose. America's going to lose Japan. They're already losing. And Japan done already made a couple of moves already. But in my opinion, my opinion, that could be wrong. Japan gonna be the next ally that defect from America. And then guess what? All these other nations are gonna follow. We already see what's going on in Southeast Asia right now. And with that, Shalom.